Welcome back, second graders. Miss Shannon here with our comprehension skill of the week. This week we will be working on point of view. This is a new comprehension skill for us this school year, so we will go through it together. Point of view. A character telling the story has feelings about the events. This is the character's point of view. The words I, my, me, and mine tell who is speaking. That way, it can help you figure out who is talking and who is having that particular point of view. So, as I just stated, the words I, my, me, and mine show that a character is telling the story from his or her own point of view. Dialogue, or the exact words that a character is saying, tells what the character says, thinks, and feels. So it's important to pay attention when a character is speaking through dialogue, that you pay attention to know how they are feeling, if you're able to understand their feelings behind the words. Lastly, different characters can have different points of views. Look for how they think, speak, and act to know their point of view. So, second graders, different characters in your book can have different points of views about the same event. It's important to be keeping track of clues in your story that tell you how the character may feel. This is the graphic organizer we will be using this week when we work with point of view. Now, you will not have to fill this chart out today. I will do an example one for us in this lesson, and you will use this chart later in the week. The first column is labeled character. That is where you would write down the character's name. The second column is labeled clue. That is where you will tell me what you read in the story that told you their point of view. Was it something they did, meaning their actions, something they said in dialogue, or something they thought? A clue that led you to their point of view. The last column. So we will read a story together in our Your Turn practice book on page 203. As we read, I will stop and fill out our point of view chart for one of the characters so you can see an example of how it is used. After I finish reading the story, we will answer 3 comprehension questions about the story. When you are ready, press play to listen to the story. This text is titled The Lost Kitten. Please follow along as I read aloud. One day, my friend Cora and I saw a homemade sign posted on our street. The sign had a photo of a kitten and the words, Lost Kitten. Please call Sally at 555-0505 if you find my kitten, Boots. Sally is our neighbor, Pam. She just got a new kitten and now her pet is missing. It's too bad there's nothing we can do, Cora said sadly. Okay, second graders, I'm going to stop and think for a moment before I continue reading. I am going to do an example of how we will fill out our point of view graphic organizer. I'm going to choose the character Cora because she is the character that was speaking through dialogue on this page. I'm going to go back and reread what she said. Sally is our neighbor, Pam. She just got a new kitten and now her pet is missing. It's too bad there's nothing we can do, Cora said sadly. Now I notice that the dialogue tag, meaning where it says Cora said, the dialogue tag is telling me who spoke. It says that she said this sadly or in a sad way. That helps me understand maybe how she's feeling about this event or situation. Second graders, do you think she's happy that her neighbor lost her cat or sad? Yeah, she's sad. We can learn that through the words that she is saying. So I'm going to show an example of how I will fill out my graphic organizer. The character is Cora. The clue is, it's too bad there's nothing we can do, Cora said sadly. That is a clue because it tells us that Cora is sad about her neighbor's missing cat. It's also letting us know that Cora is saying it's too bad there's nothing we can do. She feels like there's nothing she can do to help her neighbor. When you feel like you can't do anything to help someone, that feeling is feeling helpless, right? Cora is feeling like she can't help her neighbor. There's nothing she can do. Which leads us to her point of view. Cora is feeling hopeless and sad for her neighbor Sally because Sally has lost her kitten. So by identifying a clue or a piece of information of what the character is saying or doing or how they feel leads us to understand their point of view, that Cora must be feeling hopeless and sad for her neighbor Sally, who lost her kitten. All right, second graders, I won't interrupt anymore. I just wanted to show an example of how we will be using this graphic organizer and what the columns are used for. The rest of the story I will read all the way through. But as I read, be thinking about the characters and how they must be feeling, or what their point of view is as I read. I spoke up. It's not hopeless. There is something we can do. We can ask our neighbors to help look for boots. We asked my dad to help with our neighborhood search plan. First, we went and talked to Sally. Sally explained what had happened. I was careless enough to leave the back door open. Boots slipped out and ran off, and I haven't seen him since. Don't worry, I said. We have a plan to help. Come with us. We all went to Mrs. Lowe's house. After Mrs. Lowe heard our plan, she said, I think that's a wonderful idea. It's very thoughtful of you to help Sally find boots. I'll be happy to help with the search. She joined our group. At each house on the street, the answer was the same. Each neighbor would gladly help search for boots. Dad divided up the neighborhood streets and told each group where to look. Cora and I were calling loudly, Boots! Suddenly, we heard a soft mewing sound near our feet. There was Boots, crouching under a bush. I held out my hand and softly called Boots' name. He came right to me, and I scooped up the tiny kitten. When we returned Boots to Sally, she was very thankful. She hugged her kitten tightly as she said, The neighborhood search plan worked. Thank you, everyone. Wow, second graders, I sure am glad that Sally got her cat back. Now let's go ahead and answer some questions about point of view. Question number 1. How does Cora feel about the missing kitten? How did she feel when she learned that her neighbor Sally was missing her cat? Do you remember? I think I filled out my point of view chart for this one. Let's go back and look. We did. So there's our character Cora, and we were figuring out how does she feel? What is her point of view? You can see under our point of view column, we said that she was feeling hopeless and sad for Sally. So that will be my answer for number 1. How does Cora feel about the missing kitten? Cora feels hopeless and sad about the missing kitten. Remember to use a capital letter to start every sentence and end with a period. Take a moment if you need and press pause. Then play again when you're ready. Okay, we are back with number 2. What clues helped you understand Cora's point of view? Well, good thing we filled out our chart when we did. You remember that I found a clue in our story. Dialogue, meaning the words Cora was saying and how she was saying it. The clue was, it's too bad there's nothing we can do. Cora said sadly. So by saying she was talking sadly or in a sad way, we know she was sad that the cat went missing. And we felt like she was hopeless because she thought that there was nothing that she could do to help. So that was the clue. I'm going to write the exact quote from the story on the line as my clue. The sentence that told us how Cora was feeling or what Cora's point of view was, it's too bad there's nothing we can do, Cora said sadly. So second graders, be careful and notice that when you are writing down your answer that you do include the quotation marks correctly to show that Cora was speaking. All right, number 3. This one is going to be all you on your own. You can do it. You just have to make sure you can go back and reread the end of the story to find your answer. The question asks, at the end of the story, what clues help you understand Sally's point of view? Okay, so we already thought about how Cora felt about the missing cat in the beginning. But now we want to know, how does Sally feel? What is Sally's point of view at the end of the story? Well, to figure that out, we are going to need to go back and reread the ending. I will read it out loud for you one more time. Listen to see if you can figure out how Sally must feel. What is Sally's point of view? When we returned Boots to Sally, she was very thankful. She hugged her kitten tightly as she said, "The neighborhood search plan worked. Thank you, everyone." All right, so what is Sally's point of view right now? How is she feeling? And what are the clues on this page that told you how she was feeling? Make sure to write your answer in a complete sentence for number 3. And when you finish, you can take a picture of page 205 and put it in the green box to the side. Or if your camera has not been working or you did not get it to take a picture, you can go ahead and type in your answers on the very last slide. Remember to click submit, and good luck today, second graders.